Hi there. Conducting field research requires some things, and here are some of those things. Um, Planning an observational study. You want to arrange access. Call the place ahead. Make sure the manager is okay with you going to interview him and his employees or any other important people that might be necessary for your project. That way you can have like you can have the right person you are interviewing, so you're not interviewing the wrong person at any one time. The next thing you want to do is develop an hypothesis. You want to, you want to make educated guesses of what the place might look like, smell like, feel like. Just write down questions you may have. Ask yourself questions like, what does the environment feel like for me as a person when I'm interviewing this person or establishment or as a group? The next thing you want to do is consider how the best to conduct the observation. Decide whether the place yourself to make your observations most effectively should be you move around to observe from multiple vantage points, or should you understand what should you to get a better idea, would you want to walk around? What do you want to observe? Should you look at paintings? Should you look at the walls? Should you look at the employees working there? That's what you really want to do. The next thing you want to do is make observations. Describe the place. What does it smell like? What does it feel like? How does it smell, and how does the food taste? Or if it doesn't, ask questions like that if necessary. The next thing you want to do is narrate, what the scene's like, what the doctors are doing, what the patients or what the customers are doing there, how they react to certain types of people, all that good stuff. The next thing you want to do is analyze and classification. How you want to do that is you want to organize things, like you want to make sure that you organize your interview, like you want to make sure it's in order. That way you don't get your reader to go all over the place and all that fun stuff. Just be well organized when you're doing the interviews and stuff. The next thing you want to do is write your observational study. Write down conclusions, like what did you learn, what do I need, what do you think will help understand. Should you do more online research after your interview, or should you just leave it as it is after you're done interviewing the person you interviewed? That's another important part about these field research studies. A successful interview, this is conducting interviews. You want to make sure you plan ahead. You make sure your calendar is empty. Make sure you at the right time. Make sure you and the manager or the person, whoever you're interviewing, has the same idea of where you want to interview. When you want to interview and what days. Time, all that. Make sure that that's in order. The next thing you want to do is planning for the interview. You want to make sure you have good questions for the interviewer, so you're not wasting him and your time. Make sure it's good for your study. Like make sure it's make sure you're on the same page as your topic of why you're doing a observational study essay. You want to make sure you're not drifting off topic while you're interviewing someone, so that way you have a good idea on your essay or research paper. The next thing is arranging the interview. It's like how I said it before, calling in, making sure your interviewer is available during these days. Make sure it's before your first due or draft or peer review day. That's important to have a great interview, because you just don't want to walk in your first draft day with no information. So you want to make sure that you arrange things earlier before your first or final draft. Preparing for the interview, you want to make sure like basically how I said, you want to call in and you want to make sure that you have an available date for you and your interviewer, and that you're not busy and the interviewer is not busy. You want to consistently call to make sure that the arrangements are still on plan, and if they change the plan, it's okay. You'll also you want to have other places to interview too. Don't just have one place. That also goes with organized. You want to make sure they have multiple places to call in, and make sure that those places have availability if your first choice is turned down. The final few things during the interview, take notes, write down what the interviewers, what your interviewer or who you're interviewing is saying. Write down important information you might think might be beneficial to your research or essay. Write down the actions going around you. What are the waitresses or what are the doctors and nurses doing? What is their action? What's their behavior towards the doctor or towards the manager or head chef? All those good things. Listen carefully. Like I said before, a good interview conducts good listening. It needs good listening. So don't please if you're like going off topic, you want to make sure you're listening to keywords to bring you guys back to what you guys were trying to do originally. So if you guys are talking about, I don't know, tuberculosis, and then you guys somehow go to cancer, try to find something to bring it back to tuberculosis. Or if you guys are talking about lobsters, and then it just generates to, I don't know, maybe seafood. I mean, different type of seafood like fish. You want to try to take it back, or at least keep it, similar. So you're not going off topic, way off topic. So it's fine to do that. Be considerate. Don't waste his time. If he has the goal, keep it within those lines. Keep the interview short, not too long, not too, not too short. Keep it just at the right amount of time, so that way you and your interviewer are not wasting each other's time. The last few things following your interview is reflect on the interview. What did you learn? What did you what do you what else would you want to learn? Like write your final thoughts of what the interviewer says. And the last and final thing you want to do is you want to thank your subject, or interviewer, or whoever you interviewed. You want to thank them for taking the time out of their day to allow them to let you, the interviewer, interview them. And and if you guys get on good terms, probably you guys can schedule another interview so you can brush up on things that you might not have catched before. But yeah, that's basically how you conduct field research. Thank you. Have a good day.